guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you see, I'm in the salon again, but unfortunately I'm in the chair, not behind the chair. We are still quarantined in New York and it's not looking good. It's looking further and further. You know, from what I'm hearing, hairdressers are not essential. I still don't believe that is true. I feel like it should go by the person and how they feel, instead of a political person just saying that. But with that being said, it's looking into, you know, phase 3. So upstate New York, that has a few people. They're probably gonna open May 15th, but because I'm just above west of the New York City area in the suburbs, I am connected to the city area. Even though we don't have anywhere near as many, we're probably not gonna open for phase 1 until the end of May or the mid-June. With that being said, every phase is 14 days and it has to have a steady decline. If it goes up at all, they pause it right there. We're looking at July. I rescheduled all my clients for Friday, June 12th, instead of every 2 weeks canceling and rebooking. And I took a different route than most hairdressers who canceled everyone. And then when they said they would get closer to opening, it would be a free-for-all. People are giving death threats. People are being rude. People are not being patient. So I feel like the way I took and the route I took is pretty good because everybody's really, really good and happy with their dates. I keep it in the order that the appointments were, from the first appointment to the 300th appointment. Every time we push it back, I make sure if anybody has an issue, we work with them. But we did push it back for a month and a half because that would be a miracle if we're open by then. And I just got tired of canceling every 2 weeks and pushing the appointments back. So today I have my notepad. Right behind me, as you see, I have a couple of my favorite products. I have my permanent Joico Age Defy, Joico Lumishine, Demi Liquid, Shades EQ, and Goldwell Colorance. All three, the Colorance, Shades EQ, and Demi Lumishine, are all demi-permanent, and Age Defy is a double pigmented, double neutral spray coverage line that is permanent from Joico. I also use a Joico Lumishine permanent, but I forgot to grab it, and I'll bring it out in a little bit and I'll tell you what that's about. These are some of my favorite items and I cannot live without them. I tried to say which one would I have to pick if I can only pick one. I can't decide. I love them all so, so much. So I wrote down a couple of notes here. Shades EQ, I prefer using that for mostly all over toning, all over colors, and low lighting. It's amazing for toning. It's glossy, it's translucent. You can also use it for a root toner for tapping, smudging, shadowing. You guys probably seen a few videos back that I did use it for about 2 months. It doesn't do enough for me for the root. I feel like it's not even really existent at all because it's so translucent. But it has its place. When you tone with it, you get such shine. It can be the worst damaged blonde hair. You tone or even use a clear gloss, that baby's gonna be shining like a piece of tin foil on a hot summer day in the middle of a field. I promise you. Shades EQ is a brand that is so easy where you can't go wrong. I never mix just one color. I always have to mix 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes I even mix up to 8 different colors, and it's so hard to make a mistake. They have so many options. I believe they have like over 50 or 60 different colors, and they add up with the permanent color lacquers for the permanent Redken line. I have tried that line. I don't like the smell of it. I do like that texture of a liquid or a gel, but for the permanent, I stay to Joico, and I stay with Shades EQ for toning. So a couple of other things. Shades EQ is not good when it comes to gray blending. You know, demi-permanents do not cover gray. They're usually under 10 volume for a peroxide level, which means they are 0 lift. They just deposit the color, and that's why most demi color lines come with their dedicated developer. Shades EQ has processing solution. They also came out a couple months ago with a new one. It has a black label on it. It's still a white bottle with a black label and some pink on it. I don't have that here today. It ran out. It is for people who like to do root toning or low lighting and want it to be a little thicker. It makes it more jellier instead of runny. The third thing they have is the pink and white bottle, which is 000. And it's crystal clear. You can get one this size for like 20 something and then almost 40 for the big one. But they also have recently come out with the Shades EQ 2-ounce bottle of clear as well. Clear is good for when you have somebody's hair who's really porous and you don't want it to grab too much. It's really good for stuff like that. It's really good for people who don't have color and they just want like a nice gloss to have their hair shiny. It's good for that. Gray blending, like I said, it's not good for because it is so translucent. I found something out. If you do want to try Shades EQ for gray blending, you cannot use a NEN, like a neutral, like you would think. You have to use an NB, which is their natural beige. That is the only way you're gonna get any coverage. I've tried it multiple times and it does work, but it only covers like 20 to 25%. So if you're 100% or 50% white or gray, that is not for you. This is for people who have a couple sprinkles here and there and they just wanted to blend it in. They also recently have come out with level 10. Now, if you know about Shades EQ, they went from 01 to 09. So everybody that wants that white, bright, white blonde level 10 hair, we were using level 9. And the thing I hated about that is sometimes it grabs because the violet is stronger in a 9 than it is for a 10. So it would go so quickly. I would put it on the hair and have to wash it off within 1 or 2 minutes. That's another good thing about Crystal Clear. You can dilute it a little bit and it adds it up to a 10 instead of a 9. You can also add any level 9 with any level you want, and that will also dilute the formula as if it was crystal clear. Also, another thing you'll notice with Shades EQ that I love the most is when I do tone at the bowl, you put it in the hair. I like to use a regular bottle and I like to use a regular processing solution, like really liquidy. You literally get a lather just like a shampoo. And half the time or more, I don't even shampoo afterwards because it literally lathers and cleans the hair as if it was a shampoo. It's perfect to do it at the bowl because you get it evenly distributed. It just is fun to sit and actually watch it change in front of you. It's like magic. But when you're using Shades EQ for toning, absolutely watch it because it could be 2 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. When it's time to wash off, it's time to wash off. And a little bit of advice is do not panic when you first put on that Shades EQ. They used to say always walk away for 10 minutes and come back because you will see the undertone of that color. So say I'm using a 9B and a 9T for a blonde. It's gonna have blue, it's gonna have violet, and it's gonna look dark. It's gonna look very dark and scary. As soon as it hits the hair, it starts changing. And that's the thing I love about demi color. You don't have to sit and let it work for 45 minutes and watch it slowly change. It hits the hair, it changes immediately to the color it's gonna be, and every minute after that is one wash. You can just easily damp the hair with a water bottle or wash it, and then it works best on towel dried hair or at the bowl, and it evenly distributes so much easier instead of sitting there trying to paint it on the whole entire head. It saves time, it works quick, and your clients will love the results. Trust me when I tell you. These are Shades EQ. This is what they look like. I like mixing, so a bottle can last me a couple of weeks. I mix a little of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I rarely ever use a 1 or 2 unless I'm doing like a root toner. So another thing that's really, really cool about Shades EQ is they have the glosses that use the dedicated processing solution or the processing thickener. And then they have 2 different kinds of cream. They have the Cover Plus, which is really good for gray blending with the demi, because you can get some good gray blending with this. They have double ends, even though it's demi-permanent. You can use 10 or 20 volume, but it's still no lift. And then they have the regular, and this is the Cover Plus. So you can mix these 2 together. I like to use them with 10 volume. I only tried them a few times. I have 7G, which is my favorite low light, is 7 and 7G. And then I have a 5WB for a darker low light for blondes. And that's the only time I really use them, and it's if I'm out of the Goldwell Colorance low light. But these are cool, especially if you want to try something that is not as translucent as the gloss. Like say you want like more of a pigment for your root shadows. You can give these a try and use 10 volume with them. Also, one more thing I forgot to add with Shades EQ is if I'm doing a low light or you want more staying power, you can use 10 volume developer with the Shades EQ. It gives you more like coverage and it gives a little bit more lasting power. I would recommend using the Redken dedicated 10 volume peroxide or peroxide that goes with these. Next favorite color line of mine is Goldwell Colorance. This is also a demi-permanent. They have tubes of 2 ounces, and they have the cans, which is very unique, and it makes Goldwell very unique. And this isn't something new. They've had this since I was a child. These are 4 ounces and these are 2 ounces. Goldwell is a little bit more pricier, but they work so well that they're worth it, you guys. I recently have transformed over to Goldwell Oxycure Lightener as well for bleach. I'm obsessed, a real expensive line compared to other lines, but it's worth it. With Colorance, I only use a couple of colors. I don't really dive in full on. I love 7N, 7G for a low light. I prefer also the cans, and what's cool about the cans is they actually have a bowl, and you push down, it goes into the bowl. And then they also have a bottle that you can push down and goes into it. So you have to use the bottle and the bowl when using the cans or it won't come out. For a root shadow with Goldwell, my favorite root shadow formula ever is 7N, 7NA equal parts. My favorite toner, if you want an ashy bright blonde, 10B, 10P. And then I like, for people who want more of a white and bright as opposed to too ashy, I like 10P, 10N. And then for my warm people out there who look good with warmth and they want some warmth, even though they want to be a level 10 lightest blonde, I love using 10N, 10G. Now Goldwell recommends that you mix their demi colors with the dedicated lotion. Once you know the rules, you can break them. I found that when I use Goldwell Colorance, I like to do 1-to-1. One part is my color, and I added up directly the same amount of the processing solution. So if I'm using 2 ounces of Goldwell color, I'm gonna use 2 ounces of Goldwell processing solution. They want you to use 2 ounces of color, 4 ounces of processing solution, if that makes sense. Also, a thing I forgot about Shade DQ is they're 1-to-1 as well. I just love them so much. The only thing is they don't have as many options as Shade DQ, and it's pricier, but once you start using it, you're gonna be obsessed and love it. Next up is my Joico Lumishine Demi Liquids. This is a demi-permanent line like the other two are that you can use for toning all over colors. These guys, I love them so much, and I'm gonna tell you why. Back when I was in school a few years back, I loved Redken Shade DQ, and I used to do root toning with it for a tap, shadow, smudge. If you guys don't know what that is, go check out my 3 different root toning video, and it goes over all 3 ways I like to tone the root for what clients want, and the 3 different ways I break it down. When it came to root toning, I found that Shade DQ just wasn't dark enough. It had that more translucent look, and after a wash or 2, I felt like they didn't even have a shadow. So what I started doing was leaving it on longer. Didn't matter. So then I tried the Shade DQ cream. Didn't like the fact that I had to use 10 volume. I didn't like the cream consistency, and then I found these guys. They don't have a lot of them at all. They're actually adding to this line every couple months. They just came out with a 4N and a 7N, and I'm praying Joico, please come out with a 4NA and a 7NA. I always love using an NA and an N on my root, whether it's a tap, shadow, or smudge. I like the neutral, and I like a little bit of ash in there to keep the root muted and ashy and cool, because really, who do you know that's natural hair grows out and it's really warm and brassy? Nobody. Nobody's hair really starts turning the color it is until it's about 1 inch long. So I feel like a neutral with a little bit of natural ash make it look perfect. Every now and then I'll get a client who does want a little bit more warmth, and then I'll mix like 3/4 of the N, and I'll add a little dab of the NW, which is the natural warm that Joico came out with a couple months back. They're very warm. You only need a drop. I found Lumishine basically because I was looking for a brand that had more coverage for root toning. I preferred a liquid because I like that liquid jelly texture, and I stumbled upon them because a couple of friends told me to check them out. I fell in love with Joico then on, and I have never looked back after that. I love their colors so much. I used to use their bleach, the blonde line. Joico puts out nothing but quality in my eyes. I love all the brands I'm talking about today, but if you guys have never tried the Joico Lumishine Demi Liquids for the root, you are missing out. This has the perfect amount of coverage. No, it's not too much where it looks like just no highlights, just straight dark root. You'll see that prismatic look where you can see the blonde still coming through. And it still has like that translucent look, but it's more opaque, if that makes sense. I like to leave these on 5 minutes if I'm doing a root tap, 10 minutes if I'm doing a root shadow, and for people who like that sombre, like balayage long root, I like to leave it on for 15 minutes. The best thing about these is they last 30 washes. They are long-lasting color. Lumishine. Shine is in the name, you know it's shiny, and I love that about it. They have a lot of great warm colors like NWBs and NGs, and if you're a hairdresser, I hope you are and you understand what I'm talking about. But what's cool about Joico also is they put the number, which is the level of the color, a level 3. The N is the primary of that color, so neutral is, you know, 3/4 of the formula. And the second number is only a quarter, so it's a quarter ash. So this is a neutral ash. They also give you the number, so it's 3.01. On the other side of the world, a lot of different places, they go by numbers, they don't go by letters. 3 would be the level, 0 would be the first primary color, which is a neutral, and then 1s are ash. So if you had a 5.01, that's a what? A level 5 neutral ash. But I think it's really cool that they have both for any way you've learned color. It's also very good for clients who want that gray blending that have a little bit of gray. It does actually cover a little bit. It doesn't cover dark, but it covers enough to make it blend in with the highlights and stuff. It's really cool. It's really good, just like Shades EQ. I like doing it on wet hair or towel dried hair. It's good for all over colors. It's amazing when you're filling a blonde and taking them darker and you need those warm, rich colors like the NWBs. If you guys have never tried the Lumishine line, you gotta try the natural warm beige. They are so beautiful, and it's multiple tones in one. It's like 2 or 3 colors in one. You get the neutral, the warm, and the beige. So you can use just like that 7NWB for a low light without having to add anything else to it. They come with a 5-volume dedicated developer, which is a cream developer, which I like because the color's liquid, but it's not drippy like Shades EQ. It actually sits where you put it, and that's really good as well. As I said before, they don't have very many color selections, but they are growing. They have really good toning stuff. They have the SBs, they have the violets, the neutral violets. You guys gotta try them out. If you haven't yet, go check them out and let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Why does my drink look weird on the top? It looks lighter, doesn't it? Okay guys, last color that's always in my arsenal. It's permanent color. Now, if you've been following me for the last year I've had YouTube or on Instagram the last 2 years of my career, you'll see that I never really used permanent color. Permanent color to me is a whole science behind it. A couple of things I don't like. There's plenty of things I don't like about it. Number one, I don't like permanent color because when you put that permanent color on, if you notice when the hair grows out, you see that harsh line of demarcation. With a demi color, it fades out and it never leaves the harsh line, which I love demis. But every now and then you get a client who has gray hair. Demi permanent color, it literally stains the hair on the outside. Think of the hair as a straw. That demi permanent is not entering inside the hair, it's just staining, which causes the pH to go down because it's acidic. So it keeps those little shingles, like a roof, of the hair down and closed, which adds shine, reflects, so you get shininess, and it keeps the hair smooth because they're closed. When you go into 20, 30, 40 volume and you're using a permanent color, which you do need if you have gray and you need gray coverage. You need to use an N, which is a neutral, because that's all that's going to cover a gray. You never want to go in and put just a straight ash on there because you will have your hair turn green or blue. With a permanent color, it literally swells the cuticle, it opens up those shingles, and it allows the color to penetrate, just like lightener. Lightener will go in and eat everything up. The permanent color goes inside, so that's where the name permanent comes from. People think permanent color means it's not gonna fade, it's gonna stay forever. Permanent color means it has permanently altered the state of your hair and it can never return to its original state. Once you let that in, your old color, your natural color is gone, and that is gonna stay in the hair until it's taken out and removed, but it will never attain the regular state it was before you dyed it. Now I have 2 different kinds of permanent lines I love to use. They're both Joico. I don't know if you guys heard of Age Defy. They just came out with a new one. I tried it. It's called Youth and Lock. They have triple dye loads, which is really cool. I'm gonna explain that. So Joico has 6 NN. So an N is a neutral. Now you'll be asking, why is there 2 N's? Because it's double the amount of pigment. This is why I love Age Defy, because I'm really resistant. I'm like 40% white. My mom's entire family is white. And our hair, sometimes we have to color it twice, or I'll use a developer to pre-soften it. But we need this double pigment to get in there and get that gray pigment out. So I prefer using them just because I'm resistant, and I've come across clients who are resistant, and they can have 5 hairs of gray and still be really resistant. It just depends on the person and the hair. I use 4NN through 8NN, or even sometimes 9NN for clients who have gray. Now, what I like to do if the client is 50% gray or lower is I will use the same level, so a 6NN, I will use a 6NA, which is a natural ash, because ash keeps that cool in there. And what happens when you put the color in? You have all the underlying orange, red, yellow underneath that's gonna try to be exposed that you usually eat through with lightener. So what I like to do, even if it's most of the time, I say 95% of the time, I will always use 20 volume to get that little kick. I feel like 10 volume, it doesn't work as well. 20 opens it a little bit more to really get it in there. And that NA, I will do 1/4 of my formula, and it will just cool it off a little bit. It's not going to turn green, but if they are 50% gray or more, you want to drop the NA and just do the NN. Some of the white will pick up green or blue because it's too much gray. You don't need any ash in there, just use the NN. And what I'll do is I'll go in and do a root tap afterwards if I highlight it, and use the NA then to cool it. This is for clients who have gray coverage. For clients, and I've only had a handful, that prefer permanent color and they choose that's what they want and they really want it, I will use Joico Lumishine Permanence line. And here's an example of 7NA. The difference between the Age Defy NNs and the regular Lumishine is they don't come with the double pigment. So this is good for people who don't have gray. I have used Joico Lumishine Permanent, a regular neutral before on a client who had gray, and they covered completely, but they weren't resistant. So if you have resistant or a lot of gray, just go with the NN. But I do like using this line because it's not as pigmented when it comes to clients who prefer permanent color. And I love using the NAs, the Ns. They have beautiful coppers. I've used before, they have beautiful red violets, beautiful reds. Joico has so many different varieties. And if somebody is no gray, they just want a permanent color, I will only use 10 volume. So 20 for the double ends and the gray coverage, 10 for the regular deposit. I also wanted to say, guys, that when I was talking before about Youth and Lock, the new line, they have triple pigment. They have triple dilose. So instead of an NN, they have 3, like a neutral ash. So you don't have to mix an NN and an NA, you have an NNNA. So you're getting that double pigment, and they have a little bit of ash in there for you, so it's pre-blended. I love that Joico does that. They have beautiful copper red coppers, all kinds of stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of my 3 favorite color lines I use on a daily basis behind the chair. Unfortunately, I wish I was behind the chair right now instead of in the chair. We will be there soon, guys. Just stick with me. Let me know down in the comments video ideas you want to see, since I have a lot of time. I'm gonna try to get some hair videos out there by doing a family member, my mom or somebody, where it's safe and we're social distancing and it's just my family or something like that, to give you guys some material. But let me know down below videos you wanna see. Let me know what you thought about this video. Was it informative? Let me know. Do you wanna see color theory videos? Do you wanna get in more detail with color and filling and toning? Let me know. That's why I'm here. This is why I have this channel. I love you guys so much. If you haven't already, hit that big thumbs up, like, share with all your loved ones who might be interested in this content, and don't forget to subscribe. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I clicked my number off because that's not important. People should judge by the content. I love you all so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, do what you gotta do to survive, and stay healthy. I love you guys so much. Tune in next week. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So long for now, guys.